Last week, we saw some interesting developments and turnouts on some of the hottest stocks of the week. I'm talking about DWAC. I'm talking about CTRD. I'm talking about FUN or BENE. All of these stocks ran up to the moon. That's the definition of going to the moon. But when you actually read in between the lines, when you look a little bit closer to what is actually behind this, you cannot help but actually foresee what's going to happen with AMC when we actually are in this same exact phase. And by this same exact phase, I'm referring to the short squeeze. I'm referring to that period of time where you wake up in the morning and pre-market, you see 250% up. All right. So lots of people are a little bit worrying about halting periods in a specific stock and are trying to see, okay, if this is the result of a share price dumping, especially because they are halting the trading on the way up and usually not on the way down, what will it mean for AMC when we actually get the share price of the trading halted? So this is exactly what I'm going to try to address in this video. So I work in the New York Stock Exchange and I was a market surveillance officer, and as such, our role was to actually watch for such stocks that will run or either dump, actually causing what we call circuit breakers. A circuit breaker is it's a mechanism put into place by the exchange, all right, by the exchange where the stock's actually trading on, to prevent a major drop or a major drop or a major run up. Why? Because think of it like your car. If you brake, if you push hard, like really hard on the gas pedal, what happens usually? You go to from 0 to 100 or from 0 to 60 in a matter of half a second. What happens? Your tires try to cry, all right? You're spinning on the road. Why? Because the information was not transferred quick enough between the moment you pump the gas up and the moment that the tire actually got the news that, hey, we need to start moving. All right. So these are pretty much automatic, and it's usually it has nothing to do because these are rules imposed by either the regulator, by either the government, to make sure market keeps transparent. Because what is happening, these are movements that are not usually that sudden and big. All right. And that's why they make these to make sure they are actually monitoring market transparency, market integrity, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is what the textbook is telling us. In reality, things might be different. And we saw that back in January when they removed the buy button. Why did they do that? Because the price was running up, and it was a major issue for some people that has a conflict of interest or something to lose, something big to lose, when we had something big to win. So with the halting here, when you actually try to see what happened specifically with DWAC and FUN stock, these were traded, these were halted more than half an hour at the opening on Friday. This is because on Thursday, they ran almost 400%. And even on Thursday, when they started running, this ran from $9 to 45. That was Thursday. And then on Friday morning, it opened all the way up to 118. And as soon as the markets opened, boom, it was halted for 30 minutes. But after getting halted, it went all the way up to 175 130 and then 175 for a second, and then started dropping, and then finally closed at around 94. Now, what happens, or what will happen with AMC here when we get halted? Because we are going to get halted. The stock is going to get halted. The trading of the stock is going to get halted. Why? Because it's part of the mechanism put in place by the exchange, regardless of what is happening behind the run-up or the downtrend. Now, one side of the story is telling us that when DWAC ran on Thursday, it was also halted 4 times. But none of these halts on Thursday actually prevented the share price from going up. Why? Because there was such a strong buying pressure. Pretty much everybody was willing to get a piece of this stock. We're talking about a volume nearly more than 360 million shares being traded that specific day at a specific time of the hour. So in one case, this is the bullish case or the optimistic case. You want to see this as something that will definitely not have an impact or hurt the MOASS. Why? Because think of all the 75% of the volume going through dark pools. What if that same volume was being traded on the lit markets? Because currently only 4% of that volume is going through the lit market, New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. So if the 75% going through dark pool is now actually hitting the exchange, I mean, we're talking about unimaginable highs, but this is just the volume. Now, when you add to that fear of missing out, you add to that gamma squeeze, because the market makers selling options will have to also cover, delta hedge, meaning they will have to buy shares to actually protect them from the price running up for the options market, for the options, especially already in the money and getting in the money so quick. So we're talking about so major catalysts here that, with what 8 million shareholders now, which I think we are now, holding AMC, it wouldn't be really an issue, even if they halt this for 2 days. Because we already know, we'll be sitting like, you know what, do what you have to do, but we know what the potential here is. Plus, including something that I read on the market, on Twitter. I said it yesterday. This is from user CGaspBallsack. In 2 weeks' time, SEC and Gary Gensler will be announcing drop restrictions in certain stocks, AMC and Gimme. And I can't tell you who am I, but save this tweet and thank me later. Or write me off as a lunatic. Doesn't really matter. So I can't confirm nor deny, the information about who this guy is. He seems to have some information about dark pool restrictions, which when you actually think about what's happening tomorrow on Halt in Washington, D.C., SEC versus Citadel, I mentioned that on a previous video. Please, if you want to watch, go ahead and watch that. I detail why it's a big deal for us tomorrow. But moving forward, when you actually look at this is the trading alt short squeeze mechanics. Because when a specific or regular day trader or swing trader, it's on a stock, it's in a stock. When it gets halted, they usually know that it will reduce the volume, because people will lose the momentum, they will lose the hype, they will lose the adrenaline, and they will tend to walk away because they are not sure that after the halt, people will still be willing to continue to chase the pump and buy the stock. But you want to make sure you don't get in that same type of feeling or emotion. Why? Because you know what is up with AMC. So this actually tells us that it's very important to walk away in the beginning and not allowing yourself to sleep in the orange and red zone. Find an activity or do something when the stock is actually halted. Set an alert to the next milestone. As long as people do not sell and take profits early or through brackets, the price will continue to climb. This is what, the mechanics of the halts are actually working, especially within a short squeeze. So that's for the bullish case, the optimistic case. Now, with the not much optimistic case, because we all know how manipulated, let me use that, not using the bad word language. We don't know so far if the hedges will try to pull something out of the sleeves in order to prevent this, even with restrictions on the dark pools, or even with the new IEX deal limit order actually introduced into the best execution pricing in the market. You just don't know, because these guys will be losing tons of money. It will be bad for business. It will be bad for their reputation. It will be bad for their image, because they will be beaten by the dumb money. All right, the not expert, the average Joe on the street. So they will not fold as easily, and that's why I think we need just to be careful. But when I weigh in the positive and the negative of halting a stock such as AMC within a short squeeze, the positive, it's way bigger than the negative. Why? Because we have been buying month in, month out. And when this thing goes back to a certain level, I mean, it will just be like explosion time. Like, you know, the rocket will be fueling because everybody, even not in AMC now, will, especially in the trading circle, knows what is up. So when we hit that level, people will be chasing the pump here, plus every other catalyst we know so far that will continue to push the price up. So even though I'm positive, you just never know until things happen because nobody can predict the future. But when it comes, we'll see.